space or reimagine your entire home. Scandinavian Designs. We make it simple. You make it home. Stop by your local showroom today or shop online at scandinaviandesigns.com.
Fresh off its UK tour. Over 200 sold-out performances. The Covey invites you to step back in time to see the true story of the boy band that changed music forever. See The Osmonds, a new musical, in its exclusive North American premiere. A national theatrical event that starts right here in Provo in March 2026. Go behind the scenes and see the Osmonds as they rise to fame with hits like Yo-Yo, Crazy Horses, and Puppy Love. And see the mistake that brought it all crashing to the ground. A tale of redemption, family, and sacrifice, as told by Jay Osmond himself. The North American premiere of The Osmonds, a new musical, coming to the Covey in March 2026. Presented in cooperation with the Utah Office of Tourism. Get tickets at coveycenter.org.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Way back in 1989, I started servicing hot tubs in Park City, and I learned the hard way in the freezing winter in the mountains that hot tubs are not built for Utah's harsh climate. I then found the Arctic Spa, the most northern manufacturer of hot tubs built specifically for the northern climates. Arctic Spas use perimeter insulation similar to your house where the outside walls are insulated. This allows us to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and reduce your electric cost each month. Since then, we have sold 10,000 Arctic Spas here in Utah. We've learned that Arctic Spas last longer because they are built stronger. You can just feel the difference. Arctic Spas are easier to fix because we put access panels all the way around the spa, which makes it less expensive for you. Add this to the lower electric bills each month, and you end up with the least expensive hot tub to own over the long term. Arctic Spas, with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
How do you gain an advantage in the #1 economy in the nation? Attend the Utah Business Forward Conference, where Utah's best business minds share their knowledge about the innovation, resilience, strategy, and relationships it takes to propel your business and career to the next level. Get access to leaders in various industries, from product development and manufacturing to finance and entrepreneurship. Make plans today to attend Utah Business Forward on November 17th, 2025 at Hyatt Regency Salt Lake City. Sign up now at forward.utahbusiness.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here is Ricky Meese.
One spot of delay left over from your Friday morning drive, and it's due to one of the two crashes that we had in Salt Lake County on southbound I-15. The one accident remaining is still blocking that left lane approaching 90th South and backups to 53rd South. Also, Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash at 8th South and 11th East. From system install to fast fixes to delivering award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. Storms will come in over the weekend. The first one should hit on Sunday morning. Right now, it's 63 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
And welcome to another edition of Inside Sources. I have to say I started the day with the line of the day by my co-host Holly Richardson, which was something to the effect that you can shut the government down in a day, but you can't open it back up in a day.
Yeah.
And we're sort of learning that. We all have friends or family that were affected by the government shutdown. I know that there are a number of people that were benefited by the lack of SNAP benefits, other benefits. And even though the government's back up and running, some Americans haven't really seen the restoration of their, not only their payroll, but some of the other benefits that the government was supplying them.
Yeah, that's it is interesting, right, that it's easier to turn it off than to turn it back on. But we do have somebody who knows what's going on with SNAP in Utah, and that's Becky Wickstrom. She's from the Utah Department of Workforce Services, and she joins us right now. Thanks for joining us again, Becky.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can you tell us where Utah SNAP recipients sit in relation to those benefits being back in their accounts?
So with the federal government reopening, we have been able to issue full SNAP benefits to customers within 24 hours. So anyone who missed their deposit date, so that means they normally would have received money on the 5th or the 11th, should see it today. Those who normally receive it on the 15th will get that tomorrow.
That's really speedy. I mean, that's incredible. You just set back everything I talked about at the outset. So how were you able to do that?
You know, we've been working towards this the whole time. We've been, navigating some of the uncertainty just like customers have. And the latest guidance we had before the government reopened was that we could issue a partial benefit with some emergency funding. So we were working towards that. It required us to kind of shift our system around and do some new things. And so that was the plan. But with the government reopening, we were just basically able to go back to our normal process and get those benefits out as quickly as possible.
So were there any partial benefits restored, or is it all just coming back now?
No, this is full benefits as usual. So that's really good news.
Very good.
That is. Becky, I have a question about impacts on these Utah families who receive SNAP. Everything I've seen and heard from the food bank people say that they've just really seen a spike in demand. Are you anticipating that is also going to continue? Because I know these benefits are not as generous, I think, as sometimes people think they might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. And with grocery prices going up, I think it's something we've all felt. So, there probably will still be a need for food bank support for some families. And we're fortunate that we live in a community where our friends and neighbors are generous. And hopefully there is that extra support that people need to be able to feed their families.
Becky, what do SNAP benefits look like? And I guess I harken back to when I recall there being literally a food stamp. What do the benefits now look like?
It's a good question. So nowadays, you receive benefits based on your income and family size. You have to submit paperwork. There's some work requirements, and then you receive your benefit on an EBT card. So it looks like a debit card, but it's a little bit different. And it's actually something that we want to encourage customers to be really vigilant about protecting, because the money on that EBT card, once it's gone, cannot be replaced. So something we're actually seeing in more prevalence, but also just they're getting trickier. Our thieves are able to steal those EBT card numbers and then spend the benefits. So we actually have an app you can use. It's called Connect EBT. It's the mobile app. You can download it on your phone, and you can lock your card in real time so that you're the only one making purchases and nobody else can spend your money when you're not making that purchase.
So is the card effectively just reloaded every month?
That's right, exactly. Yeah, and you can carry a balance, which is why it becomes even more important to lock that card if you're not using it.
And that might explain, Becky, why it is that the benefits are being restored so quickly, because it's not something that has to be mailed out or delivered or something like that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we're sort of able to go back to business as usual. So I think that helped us get these benefits out as quickly as we could.
Becky, I know that the SNAP is funded through the end of the fiscal year, which is the end of September of 2026. What are you doing within your department to maybe either prepare for another shutdown or educate people who are on SNAP about, planning for the future of potential shutdowns? Is there any kind of conversation about that going on?
Yeah, I mean, this is not something we've ever experienced. So SNAP benefits, possibly not being issued is not something we've had happen with any other shutdowns. And so I think we've learned a lot in that process. Luckily, customers don't have to worry at this point. Benefits will continue, but, being vigilant about monitoring your money, taking care of it, and, we'll do our best to make sure we can get people the federal money that they're eligible for.
Becky, what do you think that the department learned as a result of this? Because it does seem like you're back at running, you're restoring benefits here within 24 hours, but there was a time when there were a lot of people that were quite worried. What did you think the net effectives on the department, at least going forward and looking at maybe being another government shutdown in who knows when?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly learned a lot. There was so much uncertainty, as I said earlier. I think for us, our focus, since we couldn't change the speed of the government reopening or what was happening at the federal level, it became really important for us to communicate with customers, even when we didn't have every answer. And I know that doesn't take away all the uncertainty, but hopefully it helps customers at least know what's happening, where we're at, and what they could expect. So, I think as much as possible that we could do that, I think that was helpful for customers to, like I said, at least know what's going on. And that's something that we'll continue to do and learn from going forward. We certainly hope that we're not in this situation again.
Becky, can you remind our listeners how many Utahns benefit from SNAP benefits?
So in Utah, we have about 86,000 households that receive SNAP every month, and that's 177,000 individuals.
Wow.
That's quite a few.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Becky Wickstrom from the Utah Department of Workforce Services on the restoration of SNAP benefits. And, she said, and she pointed out that this has not happened before in a government shutdown. And SNAP, at least, is one of the things that is funded through the end of the fiscal year. But we could be facing another government shutdown in as early as January, because that's just right around the corner.
But that won't affect SNAP.
Not SNAP.
Because it's funded until at least September of 2026.
Yeah, there are a few things that are funded through the end of the fiscal year, but the bulk of the government still, the continuing resolution only goes through January.
A lot of people lost wages, lost income, but when you're losing food, food on the table, that has to hurt hard. And I can't even imagine what it must have been like for individuals not knowing that the government was ever going to be back up, or at least anytime soon. So these SNAP benefits being restored, Department of Workforce Services ought to get a trophy for what they're doing, restoring services within 24 hours. That's amazing.
Well, again, it's one of the things with speaking of SNAP, right, that there were even legal wranglings going on with some federal judges telling the administration you need to fund it fully. You can't actually just say we're only going to fund half. And that was over a court order. And then trying to appeal and say we don't want to fund at all, right? I mean, that's painful.
Right.
So we want to hear from you. If you've been impacted by the shutdown or know people who are, have you seen back pay yet or your SNAP benefits restored? Text us at 57500 and we'll ask Greg if his family member has seen back pay yet when we come back.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and it truly is time now to officially start getting ready for the holidays and planning for Thanksgiving and Christmas, all of the great events that we love at this time of year. And as you start putting together your Thanksgiving festivities and feast, it's time to go to NPS. Any one of their 4 great locations, 2 stores in Salt Lake, 1 in Layton, and 1 in Orem. You are going to find so much of what you are looking for at incredible savings. 20 to 70% off retail each and every day in each and every store. Best of all, each of those stores will have different savings that are just off the charts on top of the already incredible value. It's time for treasure hunting at its best, for stocking up for the holidays. It's waiting for you. It's a nice place to shop. NPS.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Step aboard history and feel the legacy of Titanic. The exhibition, open now at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. Tickets at thetitanicexhibition.com.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
We just spoke with Becky Wickstrom about the return of SNAP benefits after the government shut down, but that's only one of many facets of government that were stalled during the historic lapse in federal funding. And it hit home with me, Holly, because we've been waiting until fall to get some tree work done at our house, to get some pruning done and get a couple trees removed. And I've told my wife, hey, they're coming today, well, literally today, and it's going to cost a little bit. And she said, well, can you wait until I get paid?
Yeah.
And she has not been paid yet, and actually with the Department of Justice, some of the employees haven't been paid for a couple of months.
Wow.
So it's been a little while, and she's like, okay, I'm back to work. She actually never left work, but she just hasn't been paid for quite some time.
Wow. So we know that that's not the only thing. We do have one texter who said they had received SNAP benefits, but they have not received their back pay yet. But here are some ongoing, I guess it's part of the cascade effect, right? So the federal government is back open, but there are still flight cancellations, including in Utah. So
Utah was one of, I think, 40 airports across the country that they thought were incredibly busy airports, and they were going to cut back on some of the flights to relieve some of the pressure on air traffic controllers. Now they're back to work, and we often think of the Thanksgiving weekend as one of the biggest travel times of the year, if not the biggest. So, boy, the timing of this couldn't be much worse.
Well, at least they'll be recovered, they think, right? They'll be recovered by the time we hit Thanksgiving. So the federal Salt Lake City International Airport officials said yesterday they still expect more flights to be canceled because there's actually a policy also, right? So the policy from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was supposed to be related to the shutdown, but he hasn't reversed it apparently all the way. So there also are some other, we know that there are some military members, and I found a thing online today from military.com to talk about what service members should keep in mind while the government still has to reboot. So one of the things they say, first of all, and this makes a lot of sense, monitor your pay and your benefits dashboards for updates and corrections.
Yeah, in Utah, and I don't know if we can find out the answer to this, we were concerned about our national parks.
Yeah.
And the shutdown, how it was affecting them. I don't know to what extent they're back and running and whether or not they're still just sort of picking up the pieces. Because there was a time when there were a lack of trash pickups and things that were not being done. I mean, that's not the kind of thing you just, okay, we're open again, and suddenly everything's squared away.
So I know federal workers have been asked to return to the office. They were asked yesterday to go back. So whether they have their pay or not, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe if somebody knows if the national parks have everybody back and up and running, let us know.
Yeah, and if you were furloughed or there were other issues with your job when the government shutdown went into place, have you been called back to work, or are there still issues with that as well? There were some lawsuits filed against the administration about the way that people were being furloughed and maybe with the idea that they might not be invited back.
Well, one of the things that was part of the agreement by the time they finally got it all agreed on to pass was that they were going to rehire 4,000 federal workers who had been fired as part of this government shutdown. So they are not going to. In fact, they kept that basically a moratorium in place through the end of January. So with the next continuing resolution, no more federal layoffs until the end of January. So at least there's that.
And I'd be interested in also knowing any of our northern Utah listeners who are working at the IRS in Ogden. That was a huge employer, probably one of the largest, if not the largest employer in Weber County. Are you back to work? If so, how's that going? And were all of the people that were laid off coming back to work?
Yeah.
I'd be interested in hearing that if anybody's involved with the IRS in Weber County.
So we have another texter who said, yes, received all of my food stamps. Finally made me excited. So at least that's their good luck going to the grocery store today. I'm looking at an NPR article, and they say roughly 1.4 million federal workers went without pay for 6 weeks. Half of them approximately were required to keep working without paychecks. But they are now back to work, but they're still waiting for their pay to show up.
And I think a lot of federal workers recognized, Holly, that they weren't working for free. They were working without pay at the time, but they was probably going to be made up. So I don't think we had a lot of upset federal employees. Although they were not getting paid, that's upsetting by itself. But I think a lot of them recognized, because of history, we've had government shutdowns before where people were not paid and then it's made up. And so I think people have had some assurance, or at least some feeling, that they were going to be paid once the government got up and running again.
The problem, though, is you have to go 6 weeks, right? And so we talked with Cami Mondo, who is our congressional correspondent with the Deseret News, and we talked to her regularly. We talked about the staffers who basically run Washington, D.C., that they were struggling to pay rent, not only to put food on the table, but to pay their living expenses, their rent, their utilities, their internet, right? And she said she talked to some where there are 4 staffers living in the same apartment and not a single one was getting paid, right? I mean, that's a problem for them, especially as it starts to cascade, right? So maybe they have a landlord that's like, okay, I get it, I understand, but maybe they don't.
Right, and we also got to learn the concept of, initially I think that they called it essential government employees, but they're all essential. So they called them exempt or something. They had a different.
It's accepted.
Yeah,
EXCEPT, which is so weird.
You're accepted.
I think it's weird.
Right, and you'll still need to go to work. Yeah, and I mean you don't think about, and I know that with DOJ and with the new administration, we were thinking about dialing back the federal government. But at some point, you dial it back so much that you don't get much of what everyone's been relying on for so long.
Right. And we know with the IRS, I mean, just as that example, so they cut so many that then they had to go back and say, wait, we cut too deeply. We need some people to come back. And that was real whiplash for some of the employees. And this was even before we hit the government shutdown. So IRS payments, IRS everything has been delayed, basically shut down for 6 weeks.
What I was surprised about, though, it dealt with the military, because I heard different things, and I've got a son who's in the military who never expressed, I don't know if he was getting paid or not. He didn't seem to be too worked up about it. He was going to work every day. But I thought that there was an exemption carved out for military and that they were not without pay, but I have learned that some of them were.
So So they were paid through November 15th, so tomorrow would have been the first paycheck that they missed. But they were paid by funds cobbled together from other places, right? So this wasn't the typical funding stream to pay active duty military. They were paid, but it came from Pentagon funds, and it came from the One Big Beautiful Bill where it had been earmarked for something else, and they used it to pay active duty military. They didn't pay civilians that work for the military. If they were funded by the government, and they didn't pay, as I understand it, they did not pay any reservists. So I also have another texter say that he's a federal employee who was essential and furloughed, no back pay, supposed to be received next week sometime, and that this texter worked 240 hours without a paycheck, 6 full weeks.
Ouch.
So Veterans Benefit Administration federal employee. I have another texter that says that they are 70 years old. They're on Social Security benefits of $1,400 a month, and they got their monthly allocation of $24 for SNAP benefits.
Oh boy, that's rough to even think about. We did learn in relation to SNAP benefits and whatnot that Utahns stood up to the plate really well, and our food kitchens, our pantries that were struggling were I think taken care of to a large extent, and people who normally wouldn't even visit those, or maybe some people who were waiting a little bit for their SNAP benefits, were able to go in and get some things to hold them over. Although those were getting pretty thin about now.
Well,
too.
and we know that there's going to be an ongoing impact on our local food banks and pantries, and so this time of year is one where a lot of people are thinking about what can I do to be generous and help my neighbor, and that is one thing that can continue. I had a question about why Sean Duffy hasn't put all of the air traffic back to normal, and I'm looking at a Washington Post article that said just before President Trump signed the funding bill on Wednesday night, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and FAA administrator said the hold will remain in place as long as the FAA continues to assess whether the system can gradually return to normal operations. So that's one where they didn't feel like they could flip the switch right away.
Wow.
So we'll keep that updated.
Yeah,
also check your flight schedules,
right.
all of that.
Well, we're also going to check up on the files of Jeffrey Epstein. I think they're on the top of the mind of a lot of people, and people were wondering once Congress got back in session how that was going to be dealt with. Our own Utah Senator John Curtis has indicated that he thinks the file should be released. We'll talk about the upcoming votes when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story, BYU's 12th ranked football team will play the TCU Horned Frogs at home tomorrow night. It's their second meeting as Big 12 opponents. The team is trying to keep its Big 12 Conference Championship game hopes alive. It kicks off at 8:15, and you can listen to it here on KSL News Radio. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Health officials in the U.S. are dealing with a spike in another illness. This time, it's whooping cough.
So far in 2025, 4 people have died of whooping cough, a child in South Dakota, 2 infants in Louisiana, and an adult in Idaho. Pertussis is treatable.
So the treatment often includes antibiotics,
says ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton. Better yet, he suggests,
it is preventable, and the number one way you want to prevent this is with vaccinations.
85% of the 3,500 cases of pertussis reported in Texas so far this year have been among children. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Health officials want people to get seasonal vaccines to help protect against illness as we gather for Thanksgiving. Nicholas Rupp with the Salt Lake County Health Department says vaccines are most potent 2 weeks after injection. And right now, we're a little less than 2 weeks from the holiday.
Even if you're not getting that full protection, your body will begin to use the vaccine to build some immunity within a few days. So it's really never too late, but it would be best to do it now.
Discuss which immunizations you need with your healthcare provider. You can use the vaccine locator tool and other resources at immunize.utah.gov. Your money at this moment, the Dow has made up some ground. We're still down, but down 184 now. We're at 47,272. Coming up, a couple of more warm days for you. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
At Bank of America, we're proud that more than 20,000 veterans and people with military backgrounds have joined our ranks since 2015. Now we're committed to adding 10,000 more over the next 5 years. By helping veterans achieve their career goals, we're moving from appreciation to action, and together, helping expand economic opportunity across America. Visit bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Experience the timeless Christmas classic that has captivated audiences nationwide. From the Michael McLean family to your family. See The Forgotten Carols musical. With an unforgettable story and songs that are a Christmas tradition, come meet our next generation and share the magic of Christmas in Orem, Salt Lake City, Ogden, Tooele, Logan, and Saratoga Springs. Tickets at ForgottenCarols.com.
At Common Spirit Health, we know that lifelong health and well-being starts with primary care. So we have doctors and providers who see you, hear you, know you, and understand you. Because understanding you means understanding your needs. And that leads to a deeper knowledge of the prevention, wellness, and treatment options that may be best for you. It's primary care that treats your whole family like family. It's primary care with human kindness. Discover all the ways you can find and connect with a primary care provider at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Ricky Meese.
Right now we have good speeds once again on the Valley freeways, including southbound I-15 throughout Salt Lake County, downtown to Draper. However, for Magna drivers, heads up. A crash has blocked traffic southbound 8400 west, and it is going to be closed for a little bit between 3500 and 4100 south. The BYU Department of Dance presents Christmas Around the World. Over 160 dancers and musicians will take you across the globe this Christmas, December 5th and 6th at the Marriott Center. Tickets at BYUOnStage.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. Storms will come in over the weekend. The first one should hit Sunday morning, and the temperatures will drop to the 50s. Right now, though, it's 64 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Part of the fallout from the government shutdown, which extended, I think, about 6 weeks, was that the House of Representatives wasn't in session during that time. They coincidentally didn't meet. A new member who had been elected to the House hadn't been sworn in. They're now back, and she's been sworn in, and there has been at least a vote,
There's been a petition.
Petition, yeah, that's the word, to release the Epstein file, and it requires something like 218 votes, which means some Republicans had to switch over.
Yeah, that's right. And so this is a whole thing, right? So the discharge petition will force a vote. That's 218. You did have some Republicans cross over. It actually was a Republican who sponsored it. It was Thomas Massie. And then there were 3 Republican women. They were being strong-armed by the White House and the administration to pull their names off the list. They did not do that. And because of that, the speaker is going to schedule a House vote to force the release of the Epstein files. Now, one of the things you have to know is this still has to go through a voting process, right? So they'll vote there. What people are saying, what I'm seeing from news reports, is they expect a lot of Republican members to actually vote for the release of these files.
Yeah.
So even though they didn't sign the discharge petition, they're expecting what CNN is calling a mass defection of Republicans who are going to vote to release that.
And our own Utah Senator, John Curtis, was speaking at UVU yesterday. We spoke about that on this show. He was with a colleague from Arizona, I believe, a Democratic senator, talking about where the country's going and whatnot. And he was asked about this, and he said that he agreed that the file should be released, calling it what he described as an exercise in transparency. And he said that actually colleagues on both sides of the aisle were feeling like they should be released.
Yeah, and I think you may start to see that, right, is that people are finally saying, look, this is not, we've been talking about this for maybe the whole time we've been doing the show, since June. And it's one of the things that hasn't gone away, right? So it's a story with legs, meaning it just continues to come up. And I don't think it's going to go away. I think the stuff is going to be released. And there have been things that have been released, but it is not the full set. Even some of the things that were released recently, they came from the Epstein estate, I think under subpoena. But there was an email from Jeffrey Epstein in maybe 2017, and he said basically he called Donald Trump the worst of the worst.
Right, yeah, and there were, I think, 3 emails that had been released by the Democrats just a couple days ago that were from Epstein to, it looks like his lawyer, his girlfriend, in dealing with Donald Trump and talking about him. And one of them says, I want you to realize that dog hasn't barked. The dog that hasn't barked is Trump. The victim spent many hours at my house with him. He has never once mentioned police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. I mean, you have to kind of read between the lines these emails, because in their context, we don't know what was going on. And these are 10, 15 years ago, but there's certainly several mention of Donald Trump in these emails.
Well, there's multiple mentions. And, here's one of the things, too. So we know that at the beginning, right, and meaning during the campaign cycle last year, it was one of the things that Republicans, including then candidate Trump, was saying, we're going to release these files, release the files, right? It reminds me of just the pirate show, release the Kraken, right? It's release the files. We're going to release the files. And then in the spring, Pam Bondi had an opportunity, the Attorney General of the United States had an opportunity to see the files. And then all of a sudden they were not wanting to release the files. And now I guess the Republican talking point for the administration is this is a Democratic hoax. This is it's just a distraction from running the country. And, I've seen people quip things like, so Prince Andrew got stripped of his princely title and his home because of a Democratic hoax. That was some good planning 20 plus years ago.
Right, yes. And it is a distraction, and I think an unnecessary distraction. And I don't know what the answer is. Either forget about it or release them. But we keep talking about them. And I've mentioned this before, just from my own experience practicing law, that when there's some item of evidence, some piece of evidence that one party is really, really, really fighting to keep out, it actually puts the spotlight on the evidence more than it ever deserved. And then when it does come in, suddenly it's larger than life. I mean, it seems to me it would have been smart for everyone at the outset to say, here's the files, let's move on with the country and do what we need to do.
So, Megyn Kelly.
Yes.
So she dug herself into a really big hole yesterday because she said she knew Epstein was not a pedophile because he liked young teenagers, and that was different than a 5-year-old. So
Ouch.
Oh, it's an ouch, and it's gross. I mean, and she just doubled down. It's like, well, he liked, kids that were like 14, 15. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you're talking about raping a child. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Utah, you're a child until you're 18.
Right.
You are a child.
I know, and
so,
that's everybody else in the world's point. And she's like, well, it doesn't make him a pedophile because he just liked young teenagers. Oh, stop.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some distinction between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old, but under the law, those are both considered children for the purposes of crimes against children.
Yeah, for sure.
And images involving children and touching a person of that age.
Yeah. So there's a quote from the president who says, so there's a set of Epstein survivors who have been going to Capitol Hill. They've been testifying. They've been meeting with lawmakers and saying, look, we were some of these people. And the president dismissed criticism for not meeting with them by saying, and this is a quote, look, I wouldn't even recognize them. I haven't seen them since they were kids. I'm not sure that's the alibi he thinks it is.
Right. So what I don't understand is this, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot. So the House has 218. They bring it to the floor. They vote to release the files.
Right.
It goes to the Senate.
Yep.
They vote to release the files.
Yep.
Probably. Then it goes to the president.
Yep.
And he vetoes it.
That is correct.
And then it requires a 2/3.
That's right. Right. That's right.
They
so
probably maybe I don't know.
It's
Maybe, do they have
basically
2/3?
I don't know yet. We don't know yet, but it is basically the process that a bill that would normally go through. What this petition does, this discharge petition with the 218, is to force the speaker to schedule a vote on it. And so I think when we talked to Cammie yesterday, he said he's going to schedule it for next week. So what that means is, yes, you could get it passed out of both bodies and go to the president for him to sign and order the release of all of the files, and he may veto it, which, again, doesn't make him look like he has nothing to hide.
But I think he could get away with it by saying, "Hey, there are other things we need to be doing in the country." I don't know. That's getting away with it is the right
I
phraseology.
just wonder, right? At what point do you have a tipping point where you start to get the 2/3 majority that are going to say we're just going to release the files because we can't get anything else done?
And Republicans are coming across. I mean,
that's what
our
I'm
own
saying.
Senator John Curtis yesterday said, "I'd probably vote to release the files."
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
And we're hearing more and more of the House of Representatives doing the same thing. So maybe we're going to get to that 2/3.
Yeah, it's again a topic we have talked about a lot, and I think one of the things that we might find out is that we're really shocked about what is in those files. Okay, so when we come back, Utah Attorney General Derek Brown is going to join us. He just formed a new AI task force dealing with artificial intelligence. It's bipartisan with another attorney general, and we're going to talk to him about that when we come back.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy. And you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, "Alexa, open KSL News Radio," or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Hard to believe, but Black Friday's here, and you know what that means. It's time for Black Friday money deals at UCCU.
There is an annual tradition now for Black Friday at UCCU where people look forward to, because unlike other Black Friday sales, Black Friday at UCCU is your chance to actually improve your finances.
Like a home equity loan with extra 0.25% off the intro rate, auto and RV loans with no payment for 90 days, Low-rate credit cards with 0% interest for 6 months and $150 cash just for signing up for direct deposit.
It's so easy, and that's just the beginning of Black Friday money deals. Keep going to uccu.com every week for new premium deals that will unlock, and they're things like cutting your auto loan rate in half to earning a higher interest rate on your savings. Enter each week for a chance to win these awesome prizes.
But you got to visit uccu.com every week. But if you come back and enter every time a new deal unlocks, you can win them all. So don't just enter once. Go every week, unlock every deal, and win big this Black Friday at UCCU.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Attention Jazz Nation. The long wait is finally over. Mountain basketball is back and better than ever. Let's go! All tickets are on sale now, and you won't want to miss the action. Jump on the opportunity to watch your favorite players live and in person. Whether you're after season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, the Utah Jazz has got your back. There's a plan for every fan. Don't miss out. Secure your seats today and be part of the excitement all season long. Let's go! Visit UtahJazz.com today.
If a child in your life needs support, the Children's Center Utah is here to help. Visit childrenscenterutah.org to find out more. The Children's Center Utah, where hope and healing happen.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
The new Inside Sources.
Well, it's refreshing to know that a lot of our public figures are getting on top of this AI in a way that they didn't when the internet came out, and we were sort of got behind the 8 ball in terms of regulating
and social media
internet,
too. I would say, yeah,
exactly. Not so with artificial intelligence, and it seems like some groups have sat down and decided, hey, we need to get on top of this before it gets out of control. Artificial intelligence is here. It's a big part of what we're doing right now. I know in my family, my wife uses it all the time.
Yeah,
I still haven't figured it out, but that day will come, I'm assuming. But for the rest of rest of the planet, it's used often.
You can tell your wife she can use AI to write your obituary.
Yeah, there we go.
We did that as a practice.
Right, yes.
Look, we have Utah's Attorney General Derek Brown on the line with us to discuss this new task force that he just announced. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. Sorry, Derek. Thanks for joining us, first of all.
Hey, happy to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Can you just tell us about this task force and what your goals are?
Well, this is one of those issues that really spans parties. I mean, there are obviously partisan issues, but the reality is when it comes to something like AI, which is literally revolutionizing and changing every industry, it just transcends parties. And so one of my friends, Jeff Jackson, who's the Attorney General in North Carolina, and I together we're the co-chairs of a task force dealing with AI. And really what we're trying to do is help companies set guardrails for how you use it. And I mean, there's so many opportunities with it, but so many potential abuses as well. And like, it doesn't matter if you're a company, an AI developer, someone who uses it, everyone is trying to get their arms around what does this entail. And, you know, the lawmakers are going to be light years behind. I mean, they're always, 20 years behind. So they, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to take their time.
Spoken as a former lawmaker.
Yeah, well, and you and I both know that, right, Holly? I mean, they take forever to solve problems. And the regulators are sort of secondary to that. So that's why a lot of these AI developers and companies have come to us and said, look, help us out. Help us figure out what we need to do. How do we create guardrails? Because we're all learning this together. This is something we haven't dealt with before. And, as a state, I mean, I care about this because one of the things that matters to me is protecting kids. And we sued Snapchat as a state, and I think we talked about this on this show a couple of months ago. One of the reasons was they unleashed this AI component called My AI, which was, telling kids just pretty horrendous stuff. There were no guardrails. So what we're trying to do is work together with AGs all across the country and companies to identify what are these guardrails.
So I was fascinated to see that you actually have OpenAI and Microsoft on board with this. I mean, I think that's really great, and you answered, most of my questions. But what type of guardrails are they willing to do? Because honestly, as a consumer, it feels like these big tech companies are looking at the bottom line and how to maximize profits, not how to put guardrails in place.
Well, ultimately, I mean, the reality is they want to work with us. They want to work with their consumers. And if you don't have guardrails, a company like the ones you mentioned, I mean, that's obviously not good for their consumers, and their consumers are going to demand this as well. And so what we're trying to do is get ahead of the curve and make sure that things like, deep fakes and things that, we're trying, how do we protect privacy? And this is something we've been ahead of this as a state here in Utah, and so I think that's one of the reasons that we're leading the edge. But the reality is they're willing to look at this, and they're the ones that have also reached out and said, how do we together as an industry do this? Because the other concern we need to worry about is ensuring that these companies set best practices, because what we do here in America will have an influence on the rest of the world. And we know that there are companies and countries where this technology can really get out of hand. And so we need to figure that out and really dig into how we message that and how we utilize it, because it's in every industry. I mean, the legal industry, for instance, 4 or 5 years ago, I remember thinking, when I talked to attorneys using AI, I thought, oh, this is a problem. This is potentially malpractice. You don't want to do this. And now, I mean, in the Utah Attorney General's office, we are the largest law firm in the state. We have 315 or so attorneys, and we have rolled out an AI policy, and we are utilizing it as well because it makes us far more efficient and effective as we serve Utahns in the office. And so, I mean, that's just one example of where it can be used. But we're also very mindful in our office of putting guardrails in place. And so we're trying to make sure that this is something that all sectors, not just the tech sector, but all across industries that we can really get our arms around.
Hey, Derek, can you tell us what can the states do? Because all joking aside, we often think, well, this is going to come down to Congress or it's going to come down to regulators. But you seem to have bipartisan support, maybe even national support from attorneys general. What all do you think you can accomplish?
Well, I mean, the reality is one of the concerns I think that companies have is if you don't have really specific laws or regulations in place, a lot of states are bringing lawsuits against companies for things involving AI. And so that's one of the reasons they're looking at attorneys general. Ultimately, with all due respect to our good friends who are in Congress, they're not doing a whole lot, and they didn't on this issue, and it's all they can do to just, keep the government open. So that's why I think a lot of the private sector is realizing that the driving policy and the driving the attitude and best practices are going to be driven, and they have, in fact, on a lot of areas been driven by attorneys general. And so that's why what we're doing is we're trying to create a set of best practices so that they can know what to expect. I mean, they don't want attorneys general as a group or individually to sort of go after them if they aren't following those guardrails or if they're engaging in behavior that may hurt kids. And so, I mean, and the reality is we as a group of attorneys general, we work together. I've worked with the Democrat Attorney General of Connecticut, and A.G. Tong's a good friend of mine, and we're working together on an issue involving offshore gambling companies and the impact those are having. And so we work together protecting kids, protecting our citizens. And so that's really what AGs can do is we work together across the country on bipartisan issues like this. It can have a pretty substantial influence on whatever policy the legislators eventually end up doing.
Attorney General Brown, in your press release, you say that the task force is going to focus on 3 key efforts. You've talked about the guardrails, especially when it comes to kids. You've talked a little bit about working with law enforcement, but you also said that you want to create a standing forum to track developments in AI. And to me, that sounds like something almost like a sandbox or something where you can, like, real time start to talk about what is coming up. Am I understanding that part correctly?
Yes, and this is really sort of cutting-edge stuff. We'd like a sandbox. We'd like companies to be able to self-report if they identify things that are happening with the algorithm that weren't intended or weren't, they didn't anticipate. Because there's so many places AI can go, and we're just scratching the surface. And I mean, with each new day, I mean, just even yesterday, we were learning about reports about AI being used to mechanize and systematize cyber attacks. So you have AI that's doing the cyber attacks against companies in America. And so, and that, may or may not be something deliberately sort of intended. And so what we really want is a dialogue. We want an open dialogue. As Attorney General, I've said from day one, my goal is not to catch companies doing wrong things and then punish them for it. My job is to work with, make sure that they're doing the right thing and have an open dialogue back and forth and encourage behavior that protects kids. And so I believe that having that open dialogue is that's when government's at its best, is when you can facilitate that kind of a conversation. So anyway, that is the point of that dialogue that you mentioned.
It sounds like a great idea. That was Utah Attorney General Derek Brown who joined us, and who's joined us often on this show. It really seems like he's proactive in doing a lot, bipartisan and otherwise, with a lot of issues. When we come back after the break, remember the Clinton-era quip, "It's the economy, stupid"? Well, it's still a thing. The 2025 American Family Survey results were just released this morning, and money is a top of the mind for many Americans.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story, a real SWAT situation took place in Magna last night. A major road was shut down while police worked to arrest a person suspected of being involved in a shooting last week. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
South Salt Lake police say they followed this driver for a while before attempting a stop at 8400 West and 3500 South between a McDonald's and Walmart. Police say the man barricaded himself inside the car, and several departments responded, resulting in over a dozen police cars blocking off the road. No one was hurt, and the scene was cleared up within 30 minutes. Police also say the Unified Police Department SWAT team responded to search the man's home in Riverton. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News, the 43-day shutdown of the federal government did no favors for the job market.
Payroll processor ADP says that for the 4 weeks ending October 25th, private employers shed an average 11,000 jobs per week. Not only is the pace of hiring slowing, it's cutting across industries and geographic locations. The ADP survey finds that nearly 2/3 of U.S. workers are living paycheck to paycheck.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment. The Dow right now down 142. That's 0.3%. We're at 47,314. Coming up, we have a couple more days in the 60s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, non-advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
The holidays are just around the corner, and Western Nut Company is here to make your gifting a breeze. From our beautiful gift baskets and nut boxes to our famous in-house fudge and brittle, we've got treats for every taste bud, crafted with the highest quality ingredients. Corporate gifting, that's our specialty. Just send us your list and we'll handle the rest. Beautifully packed, shipped with care, and guaranteed to impress. Calling all office managers or executive assistants. Call Western Nut now and let us make your holidays a little less nuts. But we actually do want you to eat more nuts. For 60 years, Western Nut has been a proud Utah tradition. Stop by our downtown shop for unique gifts, glittering ornaments, festive decor, and so much more. Western Nut Company, more than just the best gifts in Utah. We're a holiday tradition, in-store or online at westernut.com, where quality meets tradition, and every gift is packed with love.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Ricky Mace.
We do have a new problem for drivers in South Salt Lake. Trouble in traffic northbound I-15 at 33rd South. Now, the vehicles have been able to get out of traffic over to the right shoulder, but we're dealing with some backups from that. And an update on your Magna crash. Northbound 8400 West at 3500 South. The northbound side has been affected by this accident. Both directions remain closed at this time. On the southbound, it's from 3500 South to 4100 South. Attention Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts with GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. A storm will come in over the weekend, but the first one should hit on Sunday morning. Right now, it's 65 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Every year for the last 11 years, the American Family Survey has been conducted by YouGov, and it's for Brigham Young University's Wheatley Institute, BYU's Center for the Study of Elections and Democracy, and the Deseret News. And this year's findings just really made me think of that Clinton era quote that you mentioned earlier. It's the economy, stupid. And it's not that Americans are stupid. They're not. They're afraid, I think, of what I'm seeing, these numbers that are showing us. And it really, like the Washington Post headline today was a little bit eye-popping. Well, more than a little, actually, because one of the things that they said in their first headline was most Americans say cost is limiting how many kids they have. So Lois Collins is on the line with us. She's a reporter with the Deseret News, and she is in Washington, D.C., where they just had the big reveal of this year's survey. And Lois, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Although I warn you, there's traffic sounds behind me, so.
No worries. Look, I want to just start by talking about the eye-popping number of how many American adults think it's cost too much to raise kids.
71% say
Wild.
that it's a big issue. So a lot of people, and they're concerned about basic costs. They're concerned about food, utilities, housing costs. They're concerned about the cost of school activities. They're just concerned.
Lois, yesterday we spoke on this program about the American dream and that it's becoming a little bit out of reach for people because we often think about the home ownership as being part of the American dream. And we talked yesterday about the fact that first-time homeowners are now in their 40s for the first time ever. And we don't think of the American dream, at least I hadn't yesterday, as also involving let's raise kids. Let's buy a house and let's raise some kids. But 71% of Americans think it costs too much to raise children. Does that mean people are thinking about limiting families or maybe not having children?
Both. They say that it influences how many kids they have and whether they decide to have kids, both. And it's interesting, too, because the way the survey was built, we asked it in two different ways. We asked, what's the biggest issue facing your family? And we also asked, what's the biggest issue facing families generally? And cost was number one for families generally. It was number two for your family, just barely behind mental and physical health. So when people look at their own families, they're also considering other things too. But those are big issues for families.
So I saw, just as part of your article today in the Deseret News, is this note that people are saying this does impact their decision on how many children to have. But we're also facing, not just in the U.S. and not just in Utah, but worldwide, falling fertility rates, generally speaking. Is there
Absolutely.
Is there any discussion after you do these reports? Is there any discussion on, okay, well, now what? Are there policy discussions? Like, what happens now?
So one of the interesting things we saw this year that we have not seen to the same degree in the past is that across political aisles, both Republicans and Democrats and independents in between support more government support for family. They want some help. And it's interesting because it's like a 20% increase in the number of Republicans who feel that way too. And usually that has not been the case. Democrats have always been fairly strong on, let's give them some sort of financial aid. But the other thing is they want institutional supports like some child care help, that kind of thing. But they also want some maybe direct financial help. They feel like they're drowning.
Lois, you're at an event at the Brookings Institute in Washington, D.C., apparently. What other things are you talking about there? Is health care something that a lot of people are concerned about right now as well?
Health care definitely came into it. It was interesting. It was a lot about cost. It was a lot about there's a shrinking number of American adults who feel like marriage is essential in order to have a strong family. But they're not against it. they're just becoming more indifferent to it. They're a little bit stronger on the idea that maybe it's commitment that's important. And so there's a robust discussion around that, because if you talk to most experts, they will tell you that marriage itself brings something. It brings maybe more commitment. It helps financially. It does a number of things. So that was part of the discussion. But one of the most interesting things in the discussion today was the moderator of the panel asked young female audience members what they thought. And one of the discussions on marriage is marriageable guys. You know, what do we do to help guys who maybe are floundering a little bit catch up and not flounder? And women are talking about the fact where some of them want to have careers, but they also want to have a house, and they want to feel like they can feed their kids, and they want to feel like they can pay their medical bills too. So it's all a big mix. I think that our younger generation is kind of feeling a bit overwhelmed, and cost is a huge part of it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I know we're going to continue to have discussions on other findings from this survey, but I still want to go back to this idea about it costs too much to raise kids. Is this number similar to last year's? Is this somehow a big jump?
No, it's a humongous jump compared. It's like a 13% jump. It's a big jump. It has gone up, and it went down during the pandemic because there were a lot of pandemic supports. There was financial assistance in the form of stimulus payments and that kind of thing. So it went down a little bit. It was kind of like the child poverty numbers went down, and now it has started going back up. But this last, from 24 to 25, it took a steep climb.
Wow.
And so did housing costs, by the way. You can't ignore that. And inflation has been something people are concerned, and they're not just concerned about inflation, by the way. They're also concerned about tariffs, and they're concerned about taxes. And that's all part of the cost picture, too, for families.
So this is maybe a dumb question, Lois, but is the American dream, is it unreasonable anymore? Is it something that we shouldn't think about as much because it's out of reach?
I don't honestly know the answer to that. I think there's so many factors that go into it, but I would say that it is very much harder to obtain. And maybe we have to kind of recalculate what the dream actually is.
Yeah.
Maybe the dream also involves, better mental health services and more confidence. And I don't know. It's got multiple components probably. But the housing part of it is something that is a big struggle for a lot of people. I have kids in their late 20s, and they don't expect to get a house until I die, and they hope I haven't sold it first.
I think that's fair. Look, Lois, one last really short question. You mentioned that 71% feel like this is an issue. I have to assume this is bipartisan. This is both Democrats and Republicans.
Yes, this is across the board. And there is a breakdown. If you look at the survey, which is online, and if you can, by the way, you can also watch the presentation today that was at Brookings Institution. But it's across the board. It's not a partisan issue. It's probably as close as you're going to get to like consensus. The only thing that came even closer, and it surpassed it, was they want age restrictions on pornography online. And that one you could say was, one of the researchers said that is a consensus. It was 77%. So cost and pornography restrictions are both so high and across party lines.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was Lois Collins with the Deseret News, and we'll continue our conversation about that survey. But look, I have to tell you about the story. I love it. And it's one woman in Utah, her grassroots Thanksgiving effort just started to feed a neighbor, and now this weekend she hopes to feed 300-plus families. Stay with us.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Well, the KSL Movie Show broadcasting live today from Advanced Window Products, and I'm joined now by Nate Orchard and Jake Weber as we talk about why Advanced Windows, because there's a lot of different companies advertising. People knock on your door and say, hey, we can give you this great deal on windows. Just let us put a sign in your yard. What makes you guys different from the people who just show up and want to put a sign in your yard?
Yeah, we're and I'm embarrassed to say, but I lost my voice last night because I was playing I was coaching my son's basketball team, and I felt like Coach K out there. But
looked like
with
you did.
that,
Team played like that.
Yes, right. Advanced Window Products, we're a local window manufacturer, right?
Okay.
We are right here in the heart of Salt Lake City, manufacturing your windows for our climate, right, from the extreme heat to the extreme cold, knowing that, hey, at the end of the day, you're working with us, we're selling peace of mind at a price that can't be beat because your windows are backed by a true lifetime warranty, a company that's been around for 40 years that's here to service you and take care of your window needs.
Now, a lifetime warranty is an incredible offer. How many times are they going to need to use that warranty, though?
We hope zero. Hey, but stuff happens. Like, we know, like, life is real. Like, you're going to use a window. You've got your kitchen window that you use the most, and over time, maybe that latch stops running so smoothly. You call us, and we're going to handle that for you. Where with a lot of these other window companies, they're dealers, and so sometimes that the responsibility or accountability gets passed to the other person, to the manufacturer or to the installer. We're your one-stop shop. So when you buy windows from us, you make one phone call, and we're going to be there to help you out.
All right, so what kind of a deal can our movie show listeners, who are always savvy and they know that they're going to get a good deal if they listen to the movie show, what kind of deal do you guys have for them today?
Black Friday's coming up. Everyone knows Black Friday. We're doing an early Black Friday special for you today, movie show listeners. If you call today, we're going to give you $3,500 off the purchase of 10 or more windows.
Shut up.
Call today. Jordan's going to be on the other line.
You just made me choke. You're giving away too much.
He's got these gummy bears. He's choking on his gummy bears over here.
$3,500 off 10 windows or more. Here's the number you got to call to make that appointment. Do now. Get in there first because this is going to get you guys a lot of appointments. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100 to make that appointment to get $3,500 off 10 windows or more from Advanced Window Products.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think.
All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Inside Sources.
We love our listeners, and we're continuing to get a couple of texts from some about what we've talked about earlier, not only with respect to the government shutdown, but with respect to the restoration of benefits and what they're doing for Thanksgiving and other things that are on people's mind right now.
Family size.
Right.
Look, I want to read one. This was from our first and second segment where we were talking about this, even though you're going to get back pay, you still have needs that have to be met, food, rent, etc. And we did have a texter that sent us this, and they said, I was in the military when the first shutdown hit. I was deployed overseas. My wife and 4 kids had to borrow from family and friends for everything: food, utilities, fuel, rent, etc. And then we have several who weighed in on this conversation about family size. And this texter says there's no American dream. There's just survival right now. And it kind of feels that way, I think, for a lot of Americans.
It's really disappointing because a year ago, we weren't having this conversation. Or at least we weren't in the same way that we are now when we talk about, hey, you get married in your 20s or 30s, you buy a house, you have a couple of kids, that's the American dream, and you do better than the generation ahead of you. I don't know that any of those things are still in play the way that they were a decade or 2 decades ago. And I look at the young people today, and I've talked about this before just from my own personal experience with family members who they can't afford a house.
Yeah.
And so when you can't afford a house, do you really want to start raising kids in an environment where you don't have a lot of room? You're renting, or you don't know where you're going to be from one day to the next, and it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
And then what about healthcare? Can we afford that? And these ideas that we almost took for granted the American dream for so many years.
Yeah.
Because we did attain it in our own ways. But the young kids today are looking at going, wait a minute, we're a long way from that.
So one of the things about that family survey is that that 70% or 71% that say raising kids is not affordable, it crosses party lines, income levels, race, and ethnicity as a defining challenge for families. And here's another number that came out of the article I was referencing with Lois. More than 1/3 of adults said they experienced an economic crisis within the last year. 1/3.
Yeah.
And if you made less than $40,000, 50% of those people had an economic crisis. And then, of course, if you have kids, you're more vulnerable to these economic crises. So we also have a texter that said, if you have 6 children but can only afford 3, why should the government pay for your irresponsibility? And, one of the things that I think is you don't always know down the road, right, what might impact that decision, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into deciding to have a family or in what size it is. But one of the things for me that I wonder is what if they had the jobs that they lost, right? So that's, again, there are economic uncertainties that happen. So,
well, we do have a good feel-good story that I want to jump to for a minute here as we get closer and closer to Thanksgiving. A Utah woman has a grassroots Thanksgiving effort and aimed to feed 300 families this weekend. Jen Rogers founder of J.R. Way Nonprofit, said she never set out to build an organization. In the early days, she simply noticed when someone in her community needed help, rallied friends through social media to step in. That small effort has now evolved into a community partnership providing Thanksgiving meals for families who may otherwise go without. She spoke with our Maria Chaleos yesterday on Midday.
What was the motivation behind all of this?
Well, basically just to give back to our community. This isn't something I started. I teamed up with COA Protective Services, an organization called Day One and Organized Movement, and they were doing this a little bit before I was, and they invited me to join them. This is my third year doing it with them.
So how many families have you helped over the past 3 years?
It's like started at like 100 was the goal, and then like last year was like 200, 250 was the goal, and this year we're looking at like 300, 350 is the goal, and then obviously anything we get in over that, like food-wise, we'll just hand it out until it's gone. So
Share a little bit about how these families have reacted to your initiative.
It is really awesome to see. They've been very grateful for this. I've come across a few families that I have helped in the past, and it's kind of fun to see because then they come back full circle and then they help out the next year. So it's been a really good thing that we can do for the community to give back, especially right now during these hard times.
Right. So how do people get involved? How do they make donations?
They can always reach out to any of the groups, myself, the JR Way, any of the groups that I mentioned, to come volunteer in person. If they want to do donations, they can do food donations, and they can reach out to any one of us to arrange like pickup or drop off. And then if they want to donate funds, they can also do that through Venmo, through the JR Way, or PayPal through the JR Way.
So when you're providing a Thanksgiving meal, are people coming to you and sitting in a dining room, or are you delivering Thanksgiving meals? How is it working?
No, so what we do, we'll set up at a location. It's a drive-through. So COA Protective Services arranges like all the lanes, the drive-throughs, and keeps everything going smoothly. We give a turkey, a side bag with like all the side dishes, and then a 2-liter of soda. And we give those out until they're gone.
Okay. So if somebody does need assistance, where do they go?
So they come to 5130 South, 4000 West in Kearns. It starts at 11 a.m., and it is first come, first serve. And like I mentioned, it's a drive-through, so stay in your vehicle. Patience will be a big thing this day, I think. So I feel like we'll probably have a very big turnout. So COA Protective Services will guide you and just let you know how to just wait in line for that. And, yeah, we'll serve up as many dinner boxes as we can.
So is the drive-through on Thanksgiving Day?
No, it happens on 11/15, so this Saturday.
Okay.
So we're a week in advance, but yeah, so you'll come pick up everything this Saturday.
And this is exactly the kind of thing we need right now in Utah. And as somebody that's willing to set up something like that, make it available to Utahns, feeding what she says, something like 300 to 350 families this year at Thanksgiving dinner through kind of a drive-through. I mean, how amazing is that?
So you can find more information on Instagram if you go to @only1JR or @the_JR_way. And that's great information. That's one of many, I hope, stories of people feeding people.
Okay, Holly, are you familiar with the Broadway production Suffs?
I've heard of it.
I have not. It's about the women's suffrage movement, and when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about that. We'll be right back.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. A massive boulder crashed down on I-70 this week, thankfully without any drivers passing through at the time. It smashed into the highway Thursday morning in the Spotted Wolf area of Emery County and was big enough to block both lanes. The sheriff's office says UDOT was able to get the boulder cleared off the road quickly. Utahns are paying less for college than other states. KSL News Radio's Isabella Sosa has more.
A Wallet Hub study has found that Utahns spend the smallest portion of their paychecks on higher education out of 49 states. Alaska was not included. The study shows that Utah college students spend about 27% of Utah's median household income on college expenses. For context, Pennsylvania has the highest college costs, with residents paying more than 72% on college. Wallet Hub recommends college students save money by going to a state school for in-state tuition, applying for scholarships, buying used books, and finding a job. Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The House will vote next week on a measure to force the Justice Department to release the Epstein files. Democrats and some Republicans are expected to vote to release the files, but the fate of the measure is less clear in the Senate, and President Trump is not expected to sign it if it passes. Your money at this moment, we are now down 151 on the Dow. That's about 0.3%. We're at 47,301. Coming up, 2 more warm days before we get a storm in here. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio. The movie show live from Advanced Window Products today, and I'm joined by Jake Weber from Advanced Windows. And Jake, when you look out your window, as long as you can see out of it, that's all that matters when you got windows in your house, right?
That's what most people think.
That's what most people would think.
Most people think. Yeah, no, you think a window is a hole in your house, and that is where you are going to lose all of your energy efficiency is out that hole in your house. And so if you have old windows that are old aluminum, single-pane windows, or if you have like a builder-grade vinyl window that is warped or lost it has a seal failure, you are primed to get new windows. Like you, all of a sudden, you're going to have that view going from, oh, a window is just to look out, to, no, a window is what keeps my house warm in the winter.
Yeah, most people don't think about their windows till they're cracked.
Yeah, cracked or something like it is broken.
Yeah.
But that's what we're asking you today to call and to have Jordan come out to your house, and he's going to do an assessment, an audit of your current windows. He's going to walk through it with you to see if, hey, do you need new windows? If so, he'll point out any of the weaknesses where your windows are compromised, and then he's going to walk you through the process of replacing those windows. You'll know financing options. You'll know the price there on the spot, and then it's not going to be that high-pressure sale. You'll then be able to make that decision on your own. We just want people educated before they make a big purchase like this.
So somebody who isn't thinking about changing their windows until right now that we're talking about it, what are the things that they ought to look for?
If you can put your hand up next to your window and you can like feel like the heat or the cold really coming through where it feels as if there's nothing there, call us.
Okay.
We can come out and check out your windows. If you can't open your windows, like if you have an old aluminum window and it doesn't slide, like that is a major security concern, and please give us a call. Or if you see moisture between the panes. You see that all the time. Where there's moisture between the panes, like that means you have a seal failure, and it's no longer the argon that was in there. If it had argon, it's out, and it is no longer providing any of the energy efficiency optimization that we're able to give you.
So what's the deal that people can get? Because you don't have the movie show come out unless you guys have an awesome deal.
Black
I know
Friday.
that.
Black Friday. Hey, call today. We're going to give you an early Black Friday special of $3,500 off the purchase of 10 or more windows. But you've got to call today. Jordan's going to be on the other line, and he is ready to come help educate you, and help you address any of your window needs.
All right, that number to call, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, and make that appointment right now with Advanced Windows.
At Common Spirit Health, we know that lifelong health and well-being starts with primary care. So we have doctors and providers who see you, hear you, know you, and understand you. Because understanding you means understanding your needs. And that leads to a deeper knowledge of the prevention, wellness, and treatment options that may be best for you. It's primary care that treats your whole family like family. It's primary care with human kindness. Discover all the ways you can find and connect with a primary care provider at mountain.commonspirit.org.
She was the most luxurious ship of her time, a grand symbol of hope and elegance. No other story has captured our hearts quite like hers. Book your passage now for Titanic the Exhibition at the Shops at Southtown in Sandy. Walk through stunning recreations of Titanic staterooms, stand at the steps of the iconic Grand Staircase, and connect with unforgettable stories of passengers and crew. For a limited time in Sandy, secure passage at titanicexhibition.com. The Titanic Exhibition.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here is Ricky Meese.
We still have cleanup of this magnet crash at 8400 West, 3500 South. Valley Freeway's in good shape, but up north, way up north, and Amanda, you may remember our own Santa, Steve Macy.
Yeah.
He called in with a vehicle fire that had closed southbound I-15, trying to get across the border from Idaho into Utah. So truckers, if you're headed this way, be prepared to take the frontage road. From system install to fast fixes to delivering award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. We'll get a rainstorm in here on Sunday, and the high temperature will drop to the mid-50s. But right now it's 66 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
This is music from the musical Suffs. It's coming to Salt Lake City to share the importance of women's suffrage and the long, hard road to equality. Utah women have actually been making a huge dent in government for a very long time, and our next guest is living proof of that. Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson joined some of the cast members at Women's Suffrages Memorial to highlight Utah's important role in the movement of women's suffrage. She joins us now to talk about it.
Hi, Lieutenant Governor.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're good. Thanks for joining us. Hey, I know that this means a lot, and I might disagree with my co-host. I don't know if we're making huge inroads. That's one of the issues here.
Well, we got a good early start anyway.
That's right. That's right. Tell us about you meeting with some of the cast members from Suffs. What was that all about?
Oh, my goodness. Well, so first of all, I went and saw the musical on Wednesday night with one of my daughters and some of my sisters, and it was absolutely incredible. Yesterday morning, I had the privilege of meeting with two of the main characters, the actresses who played Alice Paul and Inez Milholland, with some Better Days 2020 folks at the Women's Suffrage Memorial across the street from the Capitol, right in front of the building where that very first woman, Sarah Young, cast her ballot, the first woman in America to cast a ballot under an equal suffrage law. So it was really meaningful to be there with these actors who played the roles of these women in this musical and talk to them about how both Alice Paul and Inez Milholland came to Utah, how Utah women were so instrumental in helping the women of the rest of the country secure their right to vote, that 19th Amendment. Of course, Utah women already were voting for 20-plus years, 24 years by the time the 19th Amendment was passed, but it was meaningful to the people of Utah to help secure those rights for other women. And it was really a privilege for me to share those stories with those actors yesterday.
So I have to admit, Lieutenant Governor, that I haven't heard of the play Suffs. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, it is such a beautiful musical. So, this is a story that of a history that affects all of us. It's a story of the long, hard-fought fight to get the right to vote, the 19th Amendment enshrined in our Constitution in the early 1900s. And it was a fight that was like 60, 70-year decades in the making. It took so long for women to be able to really fight to get this right. And we don't hear much about this story. And so this musical, it's a true story. It's got true people in it, people who lived and fought. It uses their own words. The music is breathtaking. It's inspiring. It's funny. I think it means something to everyone who goes, and not just women, men too. Both women and men fought for and against women's suffrage. Both Republicans and Democrats fought for and against women's suffrage. So this is a story that crosses political boundaries. It's a story that applies to both men and women, and it's a story of our history, of our past.
I have tickets for tonight. Yay!
You do?
It's
so happy for
it's
you.
date night. Actually, I was inspired by the Lieutenant Governor, so I was like, okay, I gotta go because it's just this week, and it's only tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, and then they're gone. So look, this is a little bit of a rhetorical question for you and for me, but why is it important to share stories like these?
David McCullough, the historian, one of my favorite historians, he once said that not understanding or not knowing history is not just ignorant, it's rude. It's a lack of gratitude for the people who came before us, who helped us get what we have today. We have to recognize and celebrate the people who came before us, because if we don't, we're not fully appreciating our role in history either, and what our actions are going to do for the people who come after us. And especially now, as we're working on celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding, we celebrate and revere the people who gave us free government, who fought for our free government. We should also be celebrating and revering the people who brought political freedom to women in America.
Where do you think we are right now in Utah with respect to women's roles in government? I mean, we have women leaders in mayoral positions. We have a lieutenant governor. We have women who are playing some vital roles in Utah. Do you think we're in a good place right now? Are we moving forward, or do you think there are other roads we should be looking forward to?
I think we're definitely moving forward. I think we've probably got more women elected to lead cities and counties throughout the state than ever before. I don't know the numbers, but I think we've got more women in the legislature than ever before. We've got Celeste Malloy, who's representing us in Congress. We've got Tina Cannon, who's been elected to statewide office now. I think we're doing well. We're marching forward. We can always do better, but I think it's good and it's healthy to recognize where we are, where we've been, where we want to be going, and to celebrate these stories. I think sometimes we feel like celebrating women's suffrage is kind of looked down on a little bit. I think we're backsliding a little bit there right now. But we should be proud of these stories. We should be talking about them. We should be telling our kids these stories. This is part of American history that we absolutely should be proud of and celebrate.
Well, I have to do a shout out to Martha Hughes Cannon, right? So she's one of our favorites. Do you want to just remind our listeners really quickly about Dr. Martha?
Yeah, Martha Hughes Cannon was the first woman in the United States to be elected to a state senate. She was elected in Utah in 1896, the year we became a state, and this was 24 years before the 19th Amendment. This was decades before most women in America could even vote. Utahns elected a woman to the state senate. She was a Democrat. Her husband, Angus Cannon, was a Republican. They both ran for the state senate, and she beat him. She won. She was a doctor. She spoke before Congress. She spoke at national women's suffrage conventions. She fought really hard to make sure that the state of Utah, entered the union with women's suffrage enshrined in our state constitution. She was a wonderful person. She was elected in 1896. She was the first. I was elected to the state senate in 2012, and I was 116 years later, and I was the 27th woman elected to the state senate. And for everybody who's listening, there are 29 state senators, so that's not very many.
Right.
So we can do better, and we will, and we are.
And Martha is now in Washington, D.C., and now that the government shutdown is over, people can visit her again. Yes,
go to Washington, D.C. Go give your respects to the statue of Martha Hughes Cannon. There, she's standing next to Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, in the visitor center. And see SUFs. Everybody should see SUFs this weekend if you can in Salt Lake. If you can't, travel to another state. Go see SUFs somewhere. This is a beautiful, wonderful story. You will love it. You will be inspired. You will be moved, and you'll be motivated.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. That was Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson joining us on the line. Look, when we come back, we have a few fun facts, and then we're going to join Andy and Rachel for the movie show. Stay tuned.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
It's the movie show broadcasting live from Advanced Window Products today. Their location is just off I-15 at about 3100 South on 500 West. But you know what? You don't need to really know where they are specifically, Jake, because you guys will go to their house when they come to get, and maybe you'll need to help people understand, what's the difference between a builder-grade window and a high-efficiency window?
Yeah, so a builder-grade window, that is what is built in bulk. It goes in, like you'll see it in most of like the new construction developments. When you have a builder that is building a bunch of like units or homes, they're trying to cut their costs, and
Yeah, they'd
rightfully
rather
so.
pour the money into the kitchen or the bathroom or something
Think
like
about,
that.
Yeah, exactly right. Like the kitchen is what you notice when you walk into the home. You see that kitchen, the marble countertops, the granite countertops. The windows, to most people, a window is a window until that window fails, and 5 years after it's installed, and then you have issues with the air coming through. You're spending so much money on those energy bills.
Oh,
That
boy,
is
I
when
know that one for a
you
fact.
felt it, or
I
you're
know that
laying in
for
your
a
bed
fact.
at night and you can't sleep because it's so hot in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Like that is because of your windows. And that's what we do is we manufacture windows that are custom made to replace those builder grade windows, to replace those windows that are aluminum single pane windows. And so what we'll do is we'll come into your house and we make it super easy for you. We're your one-stop shop where we're going to, we sell the windows, we manufacture the windows, and we install those windows. And then we come out once they're installed, if you have a lifetime warranty. So if anything ever comes up down the road, we're going to handle that, no questions asked.
You're going to want to make an appointment with Advanced Windows today at 850-9100, 801-850-9100. And why, Jake? Because you guys got your Black Friday deal going.
Black Friday. Everyone loves Black Friday. You think after Thanksgiving, what are we looking forward to? Black Friday. Call today. We're going to give you an early Black Friday special of $3,500 off the purchase of 10 or more windows. So if you're looking at your home and you know your windows are from the 60s, give us a call, and we'll be able to get out there and just help educate you on why you might need new windows.
And you'll love what you see. 801-850-9100. Make that appointment. $3,500 off 10 windows or more. It's the best deal you guys have ever done. So take advantage of this right now, guys.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next-day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. Can I run payroll too?
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today.
Breaking news at KSL News Radio. I'm Becky Bruce. Salt Lake County has its first lab-confirmed case of measles. The health department says the patient is an unvaccinated adult, but they don't know how this patient was exposed to the virus. Health officials say that means they probably were exposed somewhere in the community, which is an indicator there could be more cases out there. They are working to do some contact tracing now, but again, Salt Lake County now has its first lab-confirmed case of measles. Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
And expanded Inside Sources.
I always like to see Becky Bruce in studio, except when she's telling us that we have measles now in Salt Lake County. What is
Gosh.
and didn't you say earlier that there's
Well, we heard on some of the news stuff that pertussis, which is whooping cough, has started killing people in the country.
There we
including
go.
an adult.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Okay, well, we have fun facts. So that is not one of them.
Yes, really, yes.
So today, we mentioned this briefly yesterday, but today is National Pickle Day. So are you a pickle fan?
I love pickles, yes.
So I like dill and I like bread and butter, the sweeter kinds. My husband does not like dill at all. So back in my I'm going to can everything days, I made really good bread and butter pickles. Now we just buy them. But
I love pickles on sandwiches. I love pickles on hamburgers, on hot dogs. I love pickles on just about anything.
It's also the birthday of Representative Paul Cutler, so happy birthday, Paul. Okay, so just a couple of fun facts before we pivot to the movie show. On this day in history, so this is November 14th, Herman Melville published Moby Dick. Did you ever read that?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh!
I think we were all required to in high school or something. And
I actually
missed
read
that
it.
Class.
It is
you did?
long. It's so big. It's like so thick, right? But that was a good one. It's also Prince Charles's birthday. Happy birthday! I'm sorry, King Charles. 1948. So. He's getting up there. Yeah.
Deserves to be the king.
That's funny. On this day in 1954, Condoleezza Rice was born. She was the first black woman, the second African American in general after Colin Powell. She was the second woman after Madeleine Albright to serve as the U.S. Secretary of State. And also, 1959, Brian Stevenson was born, and he is the founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, who wrote the book called Just Mercy. So really, really good book if you haven't read it. And then in 1960, this was the day that Ruby Bridges walked into William Frantz Elementary School. She was 6 years old. She's still alive, by the way. She's not that old. And she had to be accompanied by federal marshals because she was black.
We still have pictures of that.
That's right. That's right. And then one sad fact, in 1970, it was the day that the plane carrying the Marshall University football team crashed and killed everybody on board. There's a good movie about that.
I was going to say they made a movie about that.
Speaking of
movies, today is Friday, which means at 11 o'clock we have the movie show. And do we have our movie show hosts with us this morning?
But of course.
There he is.
Andy and
Andy
Rachel.
and Rachel again. Andy, where are you and what are we looking at today?
We are at Advanced Window Products in South Salt Lake today, and we've got, do you like magic, Greg? You strike me, and now I could be completely wrong here, but you strike me as somebody who could do like a sleight of hand trick to like amuse somebody.
He's an attorney. I'm
Don't
sure he
say
can,
that.
actually.
Yeah, when I do my closing arguments, it's all hands in the open. Everything's up front.
Well, our big movie this week is called Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which is the third movie in the Now You See Me trilogy. We had the first one come out back in 2013. I was surprised, Rachel, at how long ago it had been since the series started. I didn't realize it had been 12 years. 2016, we got a sequel called Now You See Me 2. See, play on words with the number 2. And then we have Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And so the plot, if you haven't seen it, is about four magicians. They're called the Four Horsemen. They're played by Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, Jesse Eisenberg, and Isla Fisher. And they're like Robin Hood magicians. So they would like rob the super rich and corrupt and give the money back to the poor people. And so through two different films, we've had them do their exploits. But at the end of the last film, they kind of... I'm just going to say there's some ridiculous like story points. Like there's like some magic all-seeing eye that's what sees the corrupt people and then sends the magicians after them. So there's a few things you kind of just have to take.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. And it's, for me, it's fun watching, like, they're doing some kind of an illusion or a trick. So the question is, can you figure it out as you're watching it before they reveal it to you? Because they always reveal you in the movie, at any rate, how they did the big illusion that they pulled off. So the question is, can you figure it out before they show it to you? And that, to me, is part of the fun of watching these movies.
Yeah, and the chemistry between the actors.
Yes, that also.
I've seen.
So, are you guys
at least
fans of the
first
series?
One. I've seen the first one, and I cannot remember actually if I've seen the second one. But I thought they were really engaging. Right? It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, and Rachel, you're right. The chemistry between the people makes it, because you can only do so many illusions on the screen before either it gets repetitive. But Jesse Eisenberg kind of plays, if his character from when he's playing Zuckerberg could do magic. He's kind of got that same sort of insufferable superiority.
Yeah.
Dave Franco is the good-looking one, I guess. Woody Harrelson's a hypnotist, and then Isla Fisher, who was not in the second movie, returns for this one. And there's nods to all three of the movies, like all the other two movies. I don't want to give away. There's some fun little hooks that you might not be expecting as you watch it. But I thought it was, they introduced 3 new magicians. I almost forgot about that.
Yes, Dominic Sessa, who I love from The Holdovers.
Yeah, Dominic Sessa, Justice Smith, and Ariana Greenblatt, who's doing more and more things. For the Star Wars fans, she played young Ahsoka in the Obi-Wan, in the Ahsoka series. She played the young version of Ahsoka. She's been in other things too, but that's the only one that comes to me off the top of my head. But very entertaining, and I had fun watching it, even though I saw it like 3 weeks ago, so I had to refresh myself since we saw it way before it was coming out. But
I have to ask Rachel. So Woody Harrelson, how is that one going over?
Oh yeah, I mean he's pretty charming, I think, in general, even when he's kind of playing a scoundrel.
Yeah, okay.
Well, but it's a hypnotist. Like you don't know you're being hypnotized. Like something happens, and then people start doing weird things. It's kind of he's more of his Woody Boyd character than some of his weirder characters.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah.
Okay.
But no, he's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun series.
There's another big-ish movie this week called The Running Man, and that's what inspired our movie show question of the week. Because The Running Man, and I didn't know this, I knew it was based on a Stephen King story, but what I didn't know is when they made The Running Man with Schwarzenegger back in the 80s, Rachel, it didn't say based on the novel by Stephen King.
Oh, really?
That's it was based on whoever was whatever pen name he was writing under the first time.
I think it's like, is it like Richard Chambers, something like that? Yeah.
So our question is, what's your favorite Stephen King movie adaptation? Because there's been a lot of them.
There have been 3 this year alone.
There have been just a lot.
So I'm going to tell you the answer is 0. I have not seen a single one, and I went and Googled. So even not the super scary ones, I have seen 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to look it up as well because I thought I can't think of a Stephen King movie, but one of my favorite all-time movies is a Stephen King adaptation, and I'm going to play this for you guys.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
I've actually used that line before with people.
Was that The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Shawshank
what
Redemption.
Is it? Okay. The one that's been on TNT like nonstop for 7 decades
That's
now.
That's one of the greatest movies ever. I mean,
and I've never
really
seen
was. And
Greg,
then,
you're going to cringe. I haven't seen it either.
You've got to be kidding me. Rachel, how many times have you seen it?
Oh, well, I mean, I've seen it multiple times.
Okay.
I've certainly seen it.
Andy, it's a feel-good movie that has some pain. There was another one, Stand By Me, that involves these kids. It was a brilliant movie, and it was one that they were looking for a body. They were out there. It was not the one.
I just remember the pie eating scene in the flashback.
Yes. The kid was a brilliant author. Yeah.
Well, what are your favorites?
Well, I had to go. I did have Shawshank Redemption, and I would go with Misery as one of my favorites. That is such a entertaining movie.
Oh, with James Caan and Kathy Bates. That's when Kathy Bates really got on the map. Was that role?
Well, she won the Oscar for it, which is really rare for a horror performance to win. But she's great in it, and it really, I think it's almost more relevant now than it was then. The whole idea of fan culture and obsession, and your headcanon has to be right and all that stuff.
See, I'm kind of with you, Holly. I don't like the scary movies, and since so many of Stephen King's stories were sort of scary-ish or really kind of weird, I stayed away from a lot of them. But this one's going to put me in I think a very small minority. I loved The Dark Tower that came out about 10 years ago with Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, and it's kind of like, well, it was a book series that I didn't ever read, but when I saw the movie, I loved it. It was a little bit of action that it kind of ties Stephen King's universe together, because at one point he travels to this world between worlds where it links to all of different Stephen King stories like Cujo and The Shining and all these things. So it kind of it's a movie that sort of ties his whole universe together. But it was just an enjoyable movie that I was surprised how few people liked it like I did.
And I was surprised at how prolific he's been. So a lot of fun talking about some of his movies. Well, we're going to turn things over now to the KSL Movie Show. We'll meet right back here Monday morning at 9 a.m. with Inside Sources. Have a great weekend.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Becky Bruce. KSL's top story this hour is breaking news.